1 2 3 1 1 2 3 1 2 3.
1 2 1 2. Yep. 1 2. Hello.
Number 2, 1 2 1 2. Testing. Can you hear me? Nice.
Number 1, testing. 1 2 1 2. Testing. Cool.
Well, a very good evening to all of you, ladies and gentlemen, live to the Banks Homes Riverside for Women's T20 Vitality Blast action. A guard of honour provided by Lanchester and Eppleton Cricket Club's girls section as the teams make their way out. Yes, with myself, Ben Fitzpatrick, Polly Starkey and Toby Reynolds as well will be joining us a little later on in the evening, with this coverage being brought to you live in association with DAFA News. The news from the toss as well this evening is Durham have won and have elected to bowl against the Thunder this evening under pretty gloomy conditions and a little bit of rain around as well. But the umpires, Neil Pratt and Mohammed Wasim, both happy to allow play to kick underway on time. And so the Durham women make their way out and into their huddle, ready to face up against the Lancashire batting attack. Let's give you the team news as well. First and foremost for the hosts Durham, it's Holly Armitage, Maddie Villiers, Emily Windsor, Bess Heath, Heather Graham, Mia Rogers, Grace Thompson, Catherine Fraser, Sophia Turner, Trudy Johnson and Katie Levick. And for Lancashire, it's Eve Jones, Meg Lanning, Emma Lamb, Tilly Kestevan, Ellie Threlkeld, Kate Cross, Tara Norris, Venus Rapuli, Sophia Morris, Fee Morris, and Darcy Carter. And as we come towards the end of the Women's Vitality T20 Blast competition, Durham very well much in contention for the quarterfinals. The Thunder still with an outside chance. There's a lot on the line for both of these teams tonight, Polly.
Yeah, it's a crucial game, and Lancashire haven't had the best campaign. They'll be looking to get a win here, but for Durham, there's a lot more hope there, and they'll be really pushing for a place at the Oval on the 17th of July. We've got Eve Jones on strike to open the batting alongside Australian great Meg Lanning for the Lancashire Thunder. Trudy Johnson opening the bowling from the Finkel end. The left-handed Eve Jones gets off the mark quickly. Lancashire won without loss.
Yeah, as you say, quite a lot for both of these teams to play for at the moment. Durham suffering their first defeat in quite some time in the competition. Back on the 28th of June, a Hampshire win by 8 wickets. That still keeps them 4th in the table right now. Lancashire at the moment all the way down in 9th. Snapping a losing streak back on the 1st of July.
Johnson to Lanning, who has a swing, goes through to Rogers with the gloves. Both teams missing a few players with the T20 World Cup still continuing. The final at Lord's on Sunday, where England will play Australia. Johnson in past the umpire, and as an appeal from Johnson, umpire's not interested, will go down as a dot. And Meg Lanning, what a season she's had with Lancashire so far. Really destructive with the bat, and certainly at the start of her season caused a lot of teams a lot of trouble. Johnson continuing cut over, and this prodded defensively. Lanning jumping back. Still one without loss. 3 dot balls from Trudy Johnson now.
Yeah, as you say, a pretty handy season from the megastar so far. He's something that you'd expect with a player of her calibre, over 3,500 WBBL runs to her name.
Lanning just nudging this into the leg side for no run. bit of a gloomy. So is it a Friday today? Friday night?
Indeed.
I don't know what day it is anymore. A gloomy Friday night here in Chester Street. We've got the floodlights on. There's been a little bit of drizzle around, though seems to have cleared now. Lanning having faced 4 deliveries, yet to get off the mark, and there's a big shout from Trudy Johnson, and it's given. Trudy Johnson dismisses the dangerous Meg Lanning for a duck. What a moment for Trudy Johnson, one of the biggest names in cricket, and there's absolute delight on her face. She is absolutely beaming, and that was vital for Durham to get the wicket of Meg Lanning so early on in this game.
Wow, that is an absolute dreamland start from Durham to be able to take care of Meg Lanning. It's just nipped back in off the surface, and it looks pretty good indeed. Not too much decision and deliberation from the umpire. Meg Lanning has to go for naught. What an incredible start for Durham. 1 for 1 after the first over.
Yeah, 19-year-old Trudy Johnson getting Meg Lanning, probably a player she's watched throughout her childhood. One of the Australian greats, as we mentioned, and it brings Darcy Carter to the middle for Lancashire, who had such a good T20 World Cup with Scotland. It was an absolute pleasure to watch her, particularly in that game against the West Indies. There were tears at the end, but what an innings that was from Carter. It will be Eve Jones on strike, though.
That's chipped up and going to drop just short of mid-wicket. It's Heather Graham who is into the attack. And looking to continue on this fine early power play pressure. Tries to follow down leg side, but it's going to give it a wide. On that delivery, leading wicket taker for the side in the T20 competition, as well as Heather Graham. She's picked up 12 in the competition this season. She'd love to add 13th. Late little play there from Jones. Let's push through the covers for a single. So that will bring Carter up onto strike. It's brought into the side ahead of this clash. Field just going to little change. Third coming a little bit finer. Still inside the circle. It's upish, but it's over the top of backward point. There is a sweeper out on the deep on the offside, though. So we'll just be able to cut that off to 1. Most importantly, though, Carter's off the mark.
Yeah, Carter played some gritty innings in the T20 World Cup. 72 not out against New Zealand, 59 against the West Indies, 34 against Sri Lanka, and 29 against England.
Oh, helped and guided down through fine leg. There's been a little bit of moisture around, and then with the dew in the outfield, that will race away. First boundary of the night. Catherine Fraser couldn't quite herald it down.
Commitment in the field from Fraser. Put the full-length dive in, but wasn't enough.
Oh, a swing and a miss that's gone through everybody all the way down to the boundary, and once again, it will find the boundary rope. Jones found a little bit of battle on that in the midst of everything. Been given as runs. So Eve Jones has pretty quickly raced up to 10.
It's been an expensive over so far from Sophia Turner. Phoebe Graham even. Heather Graham. It's been a long week.
And then that is a true swing and a miss from Eve Jones to conclude the over. It is an expensive over. 11 runs off that one. And Lancashire 12 for 1 at the end of the second over.
After a brilliant start in that first over, Lancashire just looking to start building a nice partnership. It looks like the rain is falling a bit more again. I don't know if that's my eyes deceiving me, but it looks like it's going to be a miserly evening in Chester Street. And Trudy Johnson will continue with the ball from the Finkel end.
Yeah, looking at our good friend the Met Office, the rain percentage charts does decrease throughout the evening, but at the moment hovering around about 70%.
Carter on strike, and she prods this defensively for no run.
But at the moment, weather-wise, doing enough to keep everybody out there. Which is what we really want to see.
Carter plays this down the ground, will sneak through for 1. There's a shy at the stumps. Safely back though. That's a second run for Darcy Carter. Lancashire 13 for 1.
Good quick running though there from Carter. Happy to just play a little bit of a supporting role in this early portion of her innings at the moment. Let Eve Jones do a little bit more damage. Try and get a little bit more time maybe as well against Trudy Johnson.
Eve Jones guiding this nicely into the offside for no run.
Just 10 off 7 from Jones. Carter 2 from 3 after the Thunder losing the wicket of Meg Lanning with the last ball of the first over. Trapped on the pad.
Johnson in, and once again pushed into the offside, but no run on offer. Grace Thompson doing the fielding, finds herself in a patch and on the square. Lancashire 13 for 1. Jones drives back down the ground. The bails are dislodged at the non-striker's end. I'm not sure if there was a hand on it, but either way, Carter was safely back in a crease.
Yeah, no, it was just barreled straight down the ground. The stumps aren't in the way. It probably goes all the way to the boundary rope, actually. It's a really nice piece of timing. Cannons into, or I suppose be middle and off if you're a right-hander standing from that striker's end.
Jones 10 from 9 and heaves this into the leg side. We'll just get the 1, slows up in the outfield. 14 for 1 at the end of the over. 3 overs gone, 17 remain. Jones on 11 from 10 and Darcy Carter 2 from 3.
Yeah, it's been a good little rebuild over these last couple of overs after losing Meg Lanning the last ball of the first over. Eve Jones still just trying to find her way a little bit maybe as well against Trudy Johnson. Only faced one delivery from her in the first over. And then in that over, faced about 4. So still trying to get her bearings a little bit. And now an opportunity to find some more time against Heather Graham in her second over. Be a little bit of a conversation with skipper Holly Armitage. Sweeper pushed out all the way deep. Square on the offside. Tries to load up and carve that over the top of mid-on. Doesn't quite find the timing. Very warm welcome to each and every one of you tuning in as well. Tonight's coverage in association with DAFA News. Or up in the air and straight to mid-off. Jones, as soon as she played the shot, turned away and started walking towards the pavilion. It's an easy catch. And Eve Jones goes. Lancashire in real trouble. 14 for 2.
Yeah, as regulation as they come. So simple in the end. And as you say, Eve Jones knew she was going to be out. Not the ideal start at all for Lancashire, who so desperately need a win if they want to stay alive in this competition. Jones departing for 11.
That'll bring Emma Lamb out at number 4. Eve Jones, who had such a great month this month as well, named in the June PCA Team of the Month. That's not quite the impact that she was hoping to have for her side tonight. Especially in a match, as we mentioned, that Lancashire really need to take a victory in if they want to have any chance or any real hope and thought of being a part of the quarterfinals of this competition. Quick single from Lamb to get herself off the mark. Hasn't played a great deal in the competition so far this season as Emma Lamb. That's actually her 50th run in this season's T20 Blast that she's taken there with the quick single. It's a real difficult position that Lancashire find themselves in. Under the lights. Overcast conditions. 15 for 2. Little clip off the pads. Doesn't quite get the purchase on it.
It's been an odd time for teams as well, with the squad kind of switching up quite a lot, with the T20 World Cup, with England A, things going on. There's a lot of cricket happening.
Full of ball to end the over. It's another strong over from the Durham bowling attack. Lancashire Thunder 15 for 2 at the end of the 4th over.
Yeah, brilliant over for Durham. Just the one conceded and also the wicket. So very productive from a Durham perspective. And Trudy Johnson, who took the opening wicket of Meg Lanning, will continue with the ball from the Finkel end.
Going into a 3rd over already. So we'll only have one more allotted over for the rest of the bowling innings.
She's bowled exceptionally so far today. Lamb on strike, and that's been driven. But we'll just find the skipper, Holly Armitage.
Yeah, and I wonder as well, the thought of peering into the mind of skipper Holly Armitage about whether she'd be tempted to bowl Trudy Johnson out in this early portion, keep that pressure on, or save that final over.
Johnson again, that's prodded by Lamb. Carter was keen for the run, but is sent back. Just gone for 3 runs so far as Trudy Johnson into her 3rd over. Lamb places into the ground and will be fielded immediately. So can't work that away as she would have wanted to. 15 for 2 at Lancashire.
Yeah, sharp fielding there as well. And Carter scurrying a little bit of confusion between the two at the crease.
Johnson in again, and this is whipped away by Lamb. They're rapid between the wickets. They know it won't make it to the boundaries. It's cut off. So quick running to a good throw in the end. Put the 2 runs after the pressure of 3 dots. Lancashire 17 for 2. Lamb defending, no run on offer.
Yeah, last 2 deliveries tried to push it up a little bit fuller there as Trudy Johnson. The first one didn't quite get the shape right, didn't really get the move in to Lamb, so it stayed a little bit wider. Whereas that last delivery, got a little bit of nip back in off the surface.
Johnson, final ball of her over, and a slight misfield leaves a run-out opportunity. It doesn't quite work out in the end. Heather Graham with the chance. It would have been a difficult angle to have a shy at the stumps. I'm going to depart, and Toby Reynolds will come in for me.
So Lancashire 18 for 2 at the quarter-way point in their innings. We've had 2 other games in the competition as well that have already concluded. They were early starts today. Yorkshire beating Somerset by 11 runs down in Headingley, where Durham's men are also playing in the men's T20 Blast. Yorkshire 210 for 4, Somerset 199 for 5, and then Surrey in the Blaze. Surrey winning by 34 runs in Nottingham. As we say, a very good evening to Toby Reynolds for the first time.
Yeah, good evening, mate. Good to be here. First appearance at the Banks Homes Riverside for myself this season, as Graham continues. It's whipped away into the leg side. Fielder out there stationed at deep square leg those. They'll just pick up the single. It's a nice shot, slightly aerial, but never in danger with no fielder stationed in the ring there.
Yeah, pretty vacant square leg area there, isn't there? It's just that you've got fine and mid-wicket, quite a healthy gap.
Graham in again. That one's further outside off this time. I'm going to scamper through for a quick single, and do get there fairly comfortably in the end. The skipper, Holly Armitage, just fielding the ball in the covers there. Thought she's captained well so far, but it's been made easy by the 2 bowlers, who have both been exceptional. Johnson, I think in particular, barely conceded a run so far. She's just not missed her line in particular, and with that hooping in swing, it's been dangerous. But it's Graham again. It's a bit wider that time, but straight to point. Yeah, it's an interesting one with the skipper, with Armitage. Normally she's very, very proactive and makes lots of changes and is very on it, particularly at the bowling front. I've seen her make pretty much 20 changes in a T20 before. But she's pretty happy at the moment. I think obviously showing her sign of appreciation of the two bowlers that she's pretty happy to keep them going. 3 on a row each so far. As that one's just clipped into the leg sides and they get through for 1. Oh, is clutching at her shoulder there. Who is that down? Is that Maddie Villiers?
Yeah, I think it's her elbow. I think it might have just been a little bit of an awkward landing.
Yeah, just jarred it perhaps as she tumbled to stop the ball.
Yeah, I think it's where she's put the slide in. She's gone heavy on her right elbow. Looks like she's okay.
Graham in again. Struck on the pad, semi-appeal, but not from the bowler herself there, or the keeper. I think it was perhaps just in hopes, mainly sort of point and mid-on who went up for that one there. Which never a good sign really for a good LBW shout.
Yeah, probably going a bit too far down leg side on that one there. Did have a little bit of tail in potentially though, so not the worst shout I've seen.
Oh, that's a Yorker. Dug out well there by Carter to end the over. 21 for 2. Another really impressive over. Just 3 runs from it, and that is the end of the power play as well. 21 for 2. Lamb's 6 not out off 10 and Carter 3 off 9. And it's been a really impressive bowling display so far, hasn't it, Ben?
Yeah, it's been amazing. I think the slight blemish is Heather Graham's first over. Took her a little bit of time to find the radar. Obviously a little fortuitous as well with one of the boundaries that kind of got a little bit of a bottom edge from Eve Jones. Went all the way back through behind Mia Rogers with the gloves. But since then, really located well to support Trudy Johnson from this Finkel end. Looks like we might be getting set for our first bowling change as well.
No, Johnson's continuing.
It is going to be Johnson continuing. Well, I did wonder whether Holly Armitage would want to trust Trudy Johnson and bowl her all out early on. It's beat the bat. It's big appeal. It's given. The trust in Trudy Johnson pays off. The start of what's going to be her 4th and final over for the evening brings the breakthrough. Emma Lamb has to go for just 6. Trudy Johnson is 2 for 6 on the night. And the Thunder are 21 for 3.
Yeah, that's an absolutely huge wicket there. Another one going down and another one for Johnson. She's been absolutely impeccable and gets dangerous Emma Lamb as well, which is absolutely crucial. She's only played a couple games in the Blast, has Emma Lamb, but she's always a dangerous player, and to see the back of her will be a huge delight for Durham.
Yeah, what a strong start that this has been. That's going to bring out,
I think it's
Tilly Kesteven at number 5.
Yeah, the young left-hander. She's 21 years old. Made her debut for Lancs last year in the T20 County Cup at first, and then put in some brilliant performances throughout that competition. Player of the match in the final with her 77. But she's in a tricky position here with Lancashire, and she's going to have to pull out another good performance to try and get her side up to a much better total than what they're looking at the moment.
In comes Johnson. Fuller trying to drive. Also, didn't mention it in the roundup of that wicket, but we've got to give it a mention. What a sharp take that is from Mia Rogers. Keeping up to the stumps.
Yeah, she's looked pretty good so far today. Not had loads to do, but I think it was really nice to take down the leg side in Heather Graham's first over, I want to say.
Oh, got her! 2 in the over. Trudy Johnson has 3. It's the second duck of the Lancashire innings. And Trudy Johnson, she is on fire. Tilly Kesteven bowled for naught. And it's 21 for 4.
Yeah, that's another huge wicket. Armitage's decision to keep going with Johnson pays off. I think that one just nips back a fraction. It's generally been pushed across the left-handers by Johnson, and that one just holds a little bit of the pitch, nips back and goes straight through the gate of Kesteven there. Again, it's fabulous bowling from Johnson. The rain is coming down harder though, but they'll keep on going. They started when it was raining as well, so that's a good sign here for Durham, who will be looking to try and get some points back on the boards. They've slipped down the table a fraction in the last sort of week or so. I think they were seconds before their most recent fixture, which they ended up losing to Hampshire last week. And then obviously just the way of the competition, other teams have played more games, and I think they're down in fourth at the moment, but with an opportunity to jump up to third and possibly even second with bonus point victory today.
Ellie Threlkeld is in at 6, and she's immediately off the mark. Running one down to sort of a wide, deep third. But yeah, Durham will certainly be keeping one eye on this weather situation, and they'll be quite content with the fact they've picked up so many of these wickets early. If there is any kind of rain delay, full kept out well from Carter.
Yeah, it's interesting to see the Lancs team and the way that they're kind of trying to find some balance this season. They've got sort of 4 or 5 top order options, or even opening options in their 11. Seren Smale has dropped out today as well, and Carter's come in for her, batting at 3 at the top of the order, coming off the back of a really impressive T20 World Cup. A couple 50s on the way.
Last ball of the over, and last ball of a unbelievable spell from Trudy Johnson. 3 for 7 off of 4 overs for her. And Lancashire in all kinds of trouble. Big rebuild needed. It's 22 for 4.
Yeah, absolutely phenomenal start for Durham so far. They'll look to keep going. I think that's Katie Levick's in conversation with the skipper now. They're still yet to even turn to one of their wild cards. One of their most dangerous weapons is Levick. She's taken so many wickets in her T20 career and has been brilliant just in these last couple of years for Durham as well. She'll bowl to Threlkeld first, who's on strike. Carter down at the other end. There's a sweeper on the offside and just 2 out on the leg. So Holly Armitage looking to create pressure, keep an extra fielder inside the ring. That one's dragged down a fraction outside off and just dabbed to that sweeper out on the offside boundary. And they get the single.
Yeah, and I like it as well. It's good captaincy from Armitage, keeping that field in nice and close, trying to keep that pressure on, not give Lancashire really any room to breathe.
Just taking a second here is Carter. 3 off 11 at the moment. They have dropped an extra fielder out for her, long on. That is just prodded back to the bowler though. Seems like they're almost happy perhaps to bowl at Threlkeld and keep Carter off strike. Maybe try and frustrate her and target the new batter. That one's floated up and just into the pad there of Carter. Good start here. Single and 2 dots for Levick. That one's full and towards the stumps and fielded in that mid-wicket. Could be a run out. Oh, and it just misses the stumps. I think Carter could have been safe anyway, but that's good effort from Levick there and good piece of running in the end. A little bit risky, and a run out's really not what Lancashire would need right now.
Yeah, it was a scary single to take. A little bit of a spillage.
That one's just defended into the leg side. Threlkeld just looking to drop and run, but picks out mid-wicket. Who they're now actually moving. It's coming down into short third man. It looks a sweep, struck on the pads. Big appeal from Levick and Rogers there. But turned down by the umpire. Looks pretty tight. That is the end of the over. 24 for 4. Just 2 runs from that over. And there's just been 3 runs from the last 2. And it's basically just that second over of the game so far that we've seen more than a couple runs come from.
Yeah, it's been really tight pressure proposed and put forwards from Durham, as we are now going to have a bowling change enforced from the Finkel end. Trudy Johnson's all done with her 4 overs, so it will be Maddie Villiers who will come into the attack. Another name that's been around in the PCA Player of the Month and Team of the Month conversation throughout the season so far. Got Player of the Month honours back in May. Carter trying to back away first ball and give herself a little bit of room.
Yeah, a little bit of purchase off the surface there from Villiers, which she'll be happy to see. Similar field to Levitt with 3 out on the leg side and a sweeper on the cover boundary too.
And long on back as well for Carter. That's Sophia Turner, who's literally right down below us in the commentary position. Backs away and chips to mid-wicket. Not for the first time, that's just popped up in front of Catherine Fraser. We'll be able to take the single and get through to the non-striker's end. So she moves on to 5. Lancashire 25 for 4. As there'll be another quick conversation between Villiers and Armitage before facing Ellie Threlkeld. Again, quick drop and run just in front of points. And it's a smart drop and run as well.
Yeah, it's exactly what Lancashire need. Just need to keep ticking over. Can't get bogged down. They're already looking, well, sight for sorry eyes on the scoreboard. But they need to keep ticking away.
Little push down to mid-off. They're going to go to the keeper's end, and it's all the way past Mia Rogers. And there's a little bit of a glare as that finds the boundary rope for 4 overthrows. And that's not what you want as a bowling unit when you're applying so much attacking pressure with the ball.
Yeah, just a little bit sloppy in the end there, more than anything else. First boundary as well, since a second over where there were a couple. Not quite sure what ended up happening there. It looked like Rogers sort of moved out towards sort of almost square leg. And then Johnson had a shy at the stumps. And there wasn't anyone backing up. I think perhaps, yeah, Rogers perhaps trying to just get out of the way almost for the throw to come in.
Full toss, but reclaimed by Maddie Villiers to end the over. So 9 overs down, Lancashire 31 for 4. That's just the second over as well, Toby, that's gone for over 5 singularly.
I think that exactly sums up what's been happening so far. And even that first over that did go for more than 5, the second over of the day, Heather Graham's first over. A couple of those were a bit fortuitous. I think one sort of chopped between the batter and the keeper and went down through fine leg for a boundary. One just sort of tickled off the pads and again just ran away down towards us here in the media centre. And we're going to see a change of bowling here. Sophia Turner coming on from the Lumley end now.
Yeah, this is a bit more of what you alluded to earlier, wasn't it, Toby, with Holly Armitage propensity as a captain to go through quite a few bowling changes.
In she comes and shorts. Oh, she's down. Slight slip there, perhaps. Just shaking away the cobwebs and getting into the day is Turner. She's up. She's got a smile on her face, though. And not giving us a wide, that one. Perhaps a fraction over to the offside, but just inside the blue lines, says the umpire. That one's also shorter. Doesn't quite get up, though. And looks like Threlkeld wanted a single there, but sent back by Carter as she's punched it into extra cover, where Holly Armitage is waiting, lurking, ready to pounce if she's given an opportunity. Same field still, 3 out on the leg side, 1 on the off, as in comes Turner. That one's outside off again, and it's a big swish from Carter, who's really struggled to get going so far. 4 of her 10 runs have come from that overthrow, and otherwise she's struggled to really find any fluency so far. It's a little bit of a story when she was playing in the World Cup too. She made a couple 50s, but not a particularly quick rate at the top of the order for Scotland. That was wide, and that's just pulled into the leg side. It's going to skip away off the damp outfield, but that's a good piece of fielding out there, running around from long on. And they'll pick up a couple.
Yeah, that's Grace Thompson out there doing the fielding down at long on.
Excellent work there. Could have so easily just sort of skipped under her as she pulled out the full length dive, but body behind it and just keeps it inside the rope. And again, can keep a bit of pressure on these two. Slower ball. That one's punched straight down the ground this time, and Thompson again in the action. And they come back for a second again. 4 from the over. 5 balls bowled, 1 to come.
Yeah, another fuller delivery there as well. It being a slow ball. Just looped up. Didn't have to push it down the ground.
That one's full again and just guided out to the offside. Thoughts of 2, but I think that's Trudy Johnson out there, can mop up and just gets them through for a single. And again, Carter keeps strike. She's farmed it quite well so far. Threlkeld's only faced the 6 balls. 36 for 4. 10 overs in now. Halfway through the innings. And Durham will be by far the happier of the 2 sides, as I think Ben's going to make way here for Polly. And again, we'll see another change in bowling. Looks like Catherine Fraser also returning from Scotland duty. Be bowling to her, Scottish teammate here, Carter. Coming in from the Finkel ends. I was seeing slight change in field. Long off is out for Fraser. And it's punched straight down the ground too, long off. As Polly joins me. How are you?
Yeah, good, thank you. It's not been great from Lancashire so far. We were saying at the start how crucial today's game was to keep their hopes alive, to get to the Oval for those semi-finals, but it's looking far away at the moment. Fraser continuing, nudged into the leg side by Threlkeld, will dash through for a quick single. It's been mixed fielding from Durham, it would be fair to say. There have been a couple of good moments, Grace Thompson, a couple of balls before, but there's been quite a few misfields, and those overthrows earlier were not great, as this one's been prodded back to Fraser, but they'll manage to get 1. Lancashire 38 for 4. 39 for 4 now, with that extra run. Fraser into Threlkeld, who chips this up in the air, falls straight to the hands of Sophia Turner, and that'll be the 5th wicket for Lancashire. It's gone from bad to worse as they lose their captain, Eddie Threlkeld, just for 4. And it is not looking good at all for Lancashire, who are crumbling against this Durham bowling attack.
Yeah, that's not really the shot. I think Threlkeld looking to try and put a bit of pressure back on Durham. Looks to try and take the spinner down the ground, but can only sort of chip it. Didn't quite come out the middle and just floated into the hands of Sophia Turner, who played a big part of that, not only by taking the catch, but I think last over as well, a tight over. They only managed 5 from it. Carter kept the strike. Threlkeld's been starved of it quite a lot, despite coming in, a fair few overs ago. She'd only faced about 10 balls or so. And in the end, looking to try and be positive and try and up the rate, as we are over halfway through now. There's only 39 on the board. And in the end, she has to depart. Brings Fee Morris out in at number 7, who is a more than capable batter. That's kind of anywhere from sort of 4 down to 8, depending on Lancashire's needs and strengths.
Fee Morris with a lot of work to do here. Lancashire 39 for 5 just after the halfway stage. Fraser continuing, blocked by Fee Morris facing her first delivery.
Yeah, 6th bowler that Armitage has used so far tonight. Particularly impressive when you consider she's bowled out Trudy Johnson, and Heather Graham bowls her first 3 in the power play as well.
Fraser in, worked into the leg side by Morris. Will just be the 1, so Fee Morris is off the mark. And that concludes the over 40 for 5 after 11.
We're also still yet to see Grace Thompson, I've just noticed as well. She's done a lot in the field so far, but not been given the ball by her skipper yet. Perhaps coming in maybe at the death now that Johnson's bowled out. Perhaps they'll look to use her for a couple there alongside Heather Graham, perhaps.
Yeah, it's been handy for Durham to have Catherine Fraser back. Certainly in the 50 over stuff, they ended up relying a little bit on Abby Glenn and Emma Marlowe, who haven't bowled tons for Durham previously.
Levick again. That one's just tapped into the leg side by Morris. It's going to speed through the over. Back in again. Use of feet from Morris there, and that's a good hand from Armitage. That could have raced away all the way for 4 with it being quite a wet and speedy outfield, but that throws a little waywards. I think that's from Thompson. They just pick up a single in the end. Oh, did they come back for... Yes, just the single in the end. So Carter's back on facing. 17 off 26. Yet to really get going. They're going to bring square leg in, so perhaps leaving the sweep option open, which would be against the spin of Levick. She looks to drive though, and can't beat the dive of Armitage, but they will get through for 1. It's a good strong hand again from the captain. And again she looks to change the field for the new batter. On straighter, sweep, struck on the pads, but turned down by the umpire. That looked pretty tight again, but I think that's, Fee Morris is quite a long way outside leg, or at least batting on leg by the looks of it, so perhaps just sliding down there. That's a bit shorter and just prodded back to the bowler. And Levick will just turn and go again, and then just change in field to open up mid-wicket now. Catherine Fraser moving to short thirds. And that's exactly where Morris looks to tap it into. Perhaps a little straighter than she wanted, and they can only get through for 1. Turner down there on the boundary can do the fielding and scamper through. 43 for 5 now, 12 overs in.
Another good over from Durham, and it just feels like they're really in control. Well, they have Lancashire 5 wickets down, and as we said, not a great start at all for Lancashire, who need to get back into the rhythm of winning if they want to progress to the semi-finals, or finals day, I suppose, at the Oval. Maddie Villiers will be the change, and that's bowled. Fee Morris goes for 3. Maddie Villiers comes on and dismisses Fee Morris, who could have been the game changer, could have had that impact.
Yeah, clip the top of Bales there. That was a lovely delivery from Villiers. Morris just looking to rock onto the back foot. She couldn't lay a bat on it, and just, as I say, just about clip the top of the Bales. That's another wicket to fall, and Lancashire really, we keep saying it, but they seem to be in more and more trouble as we keep going.
It's just getting worse and worse, and that was good bowling from Maddie Villiers. It means Kate Cross comes to the middle. I don't think she would have anticipated A, coming to the crease at this stage of the game, and B, having to come in and bat when Lancashire are 43 for 6.
Yeah, I'm not sure Kate Cross would have been, or wouldn't even been able to imagine this, or even consider the possibility that this might be the score she's walking out to before the game has started. I think the rain perhaps has eased. Still perhaps a little drizzle, but they will keep going.
Villiers in, and it's been worked into the leg side. No run available. Lancashire 43 for 6 in the 13th. Cross wraps her on the pads. There's a big shout. It looked quite high.
Yeah, she went right the way back there, it looked like. That looks very tight. I think height would have been the only option there. The umpire perhaps not happy enough to give it. Not enough. Not concrete enough.
No.
But again, another good ball. Challenging both edges here is Villiers.
Villiers bowling really well. In once again. And tap down the ground.
Yeah, chipped aerially a little bit there, wasn't it?
Yeah. It was kind of a moment of excitement from Villiers, who's just drying the ball now. Suggestion the field is a little bit damp. 45 for 6. It's been chipped into the ground and pushed away into the offside. We'll take the single.
Good figures so far from Villiers. 1 for 9, for 1.5. Sure, she'll be looking for a couple more wickets to add to her tally.
Darcy Carter now back on strike, and it will be a wide. It's interesting to see Carter bat this tentatively, because in the T20 World Cup, she often started really quickly and then slowed down, rather than the other way around. As Villiers is in and not timed well from Carter, will be no run, so that wraps up the over. Another good one for Durham with the wicket of Fee Morris. 47 for 6. Lancashire are now.
You wonder with Carter whether perhaps she opened the batting there for Scotland. She's coming in at 3, albeit she was in the first over anyway. But perhaps just a change in mindset. A lot of players do often talk about how you almost end up batting to your number. If you could be a brilliant top order bat, but the second you're sort of shunted down the order to 7 or 8, you almost throw your hands at it and play a bit more like a tail ender, or vice versa. If you just throw in a pinch hitter, there's quite often times where they end up trying to play a bit more defensively, like a sort of proper top order bat. As that one's just tapped round the corner. Could be a run out opportunity, but speedy is Carter there to get back on strike. There's no hesitation at all from either batter there. It was good, decisive running.
Yeah, it's a different role for Carter, and also a very different team. There's a lot less reliance on her, I would say, in the Lancashire side compared to the Scotland side. She performed really well at the World Cup.
Just driven straight to Armitage. Yeah, she was by far and away their best batter. I think third highest run scorer at the moment. Possibly could stay there depending on the final that's coming up on Sunday. So that one's chipped over extra cover where Holly Armitage is. They want to come back for 2s. Good throw, but they're quick enough between the wickets, and I think that's the team 50 it is. 51 minutes in, 13 and a half overs. They'll be happy to get to 50, but perhaps not happy with the rest of the stats along the way. That was chipped into the leg side and just beats mid-wicket. I'll get 1 for it. I think slightly wrong-footed in there at mid-wicket, looking to perhaps move left and try and close down a shot down the ground, and it came off the inside half of the bat. 51 now, and Levick continues again. 2 balls to go. That will be another dot Out to Thompson, just in there at mid-off. That one's whipped squarer this time, and they will just get one. They want two, but absolutely bullet arm out there means you're never going to get two. 52 for 6, 14 overs in. They're going to have to pull the trigger at some point, you think, Lancashire, but with the lack of wickets in hand, there's really not, a good time to start going for it.
No. Yeah, that's kind of this between a rock and a hard place here, and in the sense that, okay, yeah, they could accelerate now, but they just risk losing more wickets. But actually, you leave it too late, and they can't even get up to a competitive total. So frustrating from a Lancashire perspective. But Durham very much in control here with a decent crowd in as well. Lots of spectators braving what is quite a chilly night, I will say, here in Chester Street. We've mentioned the mizzle and drizzle around, but it's also the temperature's dropped a bit as Sophia Turner is back into the attack for her second over.
Yeah, good pace, good length there to start for the seaman. Cross can only really just dead bat it out into the offside. Yeah, you were saying earlier, Polly, but Lancs have had a really confusing season, coming off the back of 2 trophies last year, County Cup and One Day Cup, and it's just not really clicked for them this year.
Cross having a swipe, just goes through to the keeper. Yeah, I've said with Lancashire, with complete respect to them, I do think they overachieved last season, and they were brilliant in that final of the One Day Cup. Gabby Lewis was outstanding, but I think with the 2 trophies, I don't think it was representative actually of their season as a whole. As Turner's in again, and that's driven nicely by Cross, who'll come through for 1. And it feels like there's been a lot for them to live up to this season. And as you say, it hasn't quite clicked. It hasn't quite worked. It feels like they've reverted a little bit to the pre-county days when it was the regional structure and they had such a good team on paper and it never quite worked in practice, and feels a little bit familiar. Turner continuing. It's been pushed into the offside by Carter.
Yeah, going into the season, I felt pretty positive for Lancs because I think as well, Kate Cross was going to be with them full time. It felt like obviously we're going to lose Eccleston, but they barely ever have Eccleston, and you kind of, with players of that calibre, you almost have to build your 11 expecting not to have them, and they're a bonus if they can play. Lost a couple players to Scotland, but other than that,
it's Turner's in and bottom edged, will be cut off by Katie Levick. So just the 1 run. Yeah, I can't really put my finger on what's been the issue for them in terms of, you mentioned Scotland players going away, but I don't think that's made a big difference for them. And as you say, you would have hoped that with having Kate Cross off season, that makes a huge impact. They're going to miss Emma Lamb for a little bit again. She's going to be off with England as Turner continues, and that's been driven nicely. Will be stopped though by Holly Armitage inside the ring. A diving stop to wrap up the over. So Lancashire 56 for 6 after 16, 15 even. We're going to have a change with Ben Fitzpatrick coming in for Toby Reynolds. So plenty of work for Lancashire to be doing, but a happy Durham and a happy crowd here at the Banks Home Riverside.
Yeah, it's been a delight for those that are of a home side persuasion here this evening. Lancashire starting to try and repile the pressure back on a little bit, but having lost another 2 wickets in that 5 over spell, Heather Graham is going to come back into the attack. This will be her last over of the night. Carter away straight away. A little bit of, again, a slight misfield and spillage from Grace Thompson. That's going to allow Carter to run back for the second. mentioned about trying to put the pressure back on a little bit there, didn't you, Polly, with speaking with Toby? It's little instances like that that just give Lancashire a bit more of encouragement. Guided. Quick single's going to be taken. It's fired back into Mia Rogers. Carter was sharp out of the crease there for the single.
Yeah, we don't know. This could end up being a low-scoring thriller. In fact, actually, we've got pictures here of pouring rain, is what it looks like, and we can see umbrellas popping up in the stands, a suggestion that it's getting heavier.
Oh, the little ramp from Kate Cross, and that's exactly the kind of bravery that you need at 59 for 6. Kate Cross with her first boundary of the night, the first boundary for quite some time, off a Thunder bat. That puts Lancs up to 63 for 6. Armitage, the towel once again, trying to continue to dry off this ball as that rain starts to come down with a little bit more ferocity. Chopped straight down to long on. Cross up onto double digits. Still no temptation at the moment from the umpires to come together or bring them off the field just yet. Flicked away off the pads. So that short, fine leg. In fact, it was just pads that it found, so it'll just be the leg bite.
Yeah, Heather Graham to wrap up her over.
It's slashed through mid-wicket. It'll just be the single. So Kate Cross will retain the strike. It's an expensive over that as well from Durham with the ball. 10 runs off that over. And it leaves Lancashire 66 for 6. And have a little look at that just over the members' stand. Some slight peaks of evening sunshine trying to force its way through. But it's a pretty gloomy night out there.
Yeah, it doesn't feel like a July evening. It feels a bit more September, October-y. Yeah, kind of back end of the season feeling. But yeah, that many runs haven't been spilled in an over since the second. So Durham needing to keep the squeeze on here with Maddie Villiers in. That's been clubbed down the ground, well cut off by Sophia Turner, who kind of slides quite away after taking the ball. Just an indication of what the outfield is like. 67 for 6. Darcy Carter, 27 from 37. So not striking at kind of a typical T20 rate, as this has been nudged into the leg side. Just the 1. 2 from the over so far.
Yeah, we are now starting to see over that last over and the start of this over as well, a little bit more enterprising, it seems, from the Thunder bats.
Cross on 12, has a swing, put through to the keeper.
As I think Toby mentioned earlier on, obviously there's a heavy temptation to slam the foot on the accelerator pedal on the depth, but only 4 wickets left to work with.
Villiers in, and that's whipped down the ground by Cross. Puts Darcy Carter back on strike. And I guess in this instance, Lancashire have just got to really back their bowlers. They've got to really back their bowlers in the second innings. and hope that it's the pitch that's the difficulty, as this has been struck down the ground. We'll scamper through for 1.
Yeah, especially following on from Durham's defeat against Hampshire a few days ago. There was a little bit of internal criticism post-match about how maybe they didn't put enough runs on the scoreboard on that day. So is there still a little bit of a lasting mental effect there?
Cross flicking this into the leg side. We'll get 1 to wrap up the over. So 5 from it in the end. 71 for 6. Lancashire. 3 overs remain. And perhaps this is where we'll see a bit more flair with the bats, knowing they haven't got many overs left. Only 18 deliveries remain.
Yeah, got to throw caution to the wind here at this point. 100 would have to be, you'd have to say, the absolute minimum. 120, 130. Probably an ideal kind of target here. Again, trying to rely on some of those conditions if they do hang around for the rest of the evening. We showed a couple of pictures of the slightly clearer skies that were overhead from the pavilion. Katie Levick back into the attack, and it's scooped and underneath. Short fine leg as well. It's not for the first time the Thunder being gifted a few extra runs here from some poor fielding. There'll be 3 of them to Kate Cross. Jumped her way up to 17. Carter picked up the pace on 29 as well. And that will become 30 as that's just sort of thudded into the ground out towards the offside sweeper. Oh, and straight through and bowled. Kate Cross trying to advance down the ground, take a little bit of a risk, take on the spin of Katie Levick. But with how well she's bowled throughout the season, you would have thought it's only a matter of time until she strikes. Cross goes for 17. It's the first wicket of the night for Levick. And it's 75 for 7.
Cross had to start accelerating at some point. She will have known that. And with those risks can come wickets. And to Durham's delight, that precisely was the case. Tara Norris now walking out for Lancashire. Just over 2 overs left. And Katie Levick, as usual, bowling well here at Chesler Street.
Yeah, it's been a really, really strong bowling performance. Only 2 overs going over 10 throughout this batting innings for Lancashire. Darcy Carter still out there on 30 as one of just 3 batters at the moment that have reached double digits in this innings. It's Tara Norris trying to make sure she's not the 3rd Lancashire batter to walk away without scoring as well. That's full, flighted, and caught! Well, speaking into existence, Tara Norris can't believe it. And she is going to be the 3rd Lancashire batter of this innings that's going to be dismissed for a duck. It's 2 wickets in 3 deliveries for Katie Levick. And the collapse continuing for Lancashire. 75 for 8 now.
I think this may be the worst batting performance I've seen all season in the Blast. It means that 16-year-old Venus Wirapuli comes to the crease for Lancashire, and oh my, does she have a job to do. Yeah, she'll need to swing the bat a bit, but also they're 8 wickets down. She doesn't have complete license to give it a whack. What a difficult situation for her to manage in just her first season in a Lancashire shirt. Having a few words with Darcy Carter before she faces Katie Levick, one of the most experienced bowlers on the county circuit. Double her age.
What can she do? She's got one ball here left as Katie Levick to face the young Venus Wirapuli. She's going to take a couple of moments here, the youngster, with just a handful of deliveries as well left for the side. 13 left to navigate. And it's just a push through the covers to take the single. She'll retain the strike as well. But another dominant over with the ball for Durham. 2 wickets in that over. And it's 76 for 8.
This is quite the bowling performance from Durham. A brilliant performance for them. Lancashire 76 for 8. 2 overs remain. The 100 mark is not looking entirely guaranteed. 24 runs away from that with 2 overs.
You have to go at 12 at each over, which is going to be a big ask.
Wirapuli on strike. Villiers in. She just negotiates that one into the leg side, shy at the stumps, not on target. So there will be one from the first ball. Puts Darcy Carter back on strike, which Lancashire I think will be happier with.
Yeah, absolutely. It's going to be Carter that they're going to rely on to do the majority of the damage in these last 2 overs.
Villiers in. Worked into the leg side by Carter. They are just going to stick with the single. So Carter not entirely trying to farm the strike here. We also know they'll probably turn to Carter with the ball as well for some spin. Lancashire 78 for 8. There's a shout and it's given. Venus Wirapuli's out for 2. Lancashire 9 wickets down. Maddie Villiers picking up her second of the day. A good bit of work by Mia Rogers behind the stumps. And it was a bit of a kind of quiet bit of work by Rogers.
Yeah, really quick hands there. Whipping the bails off. Wirapuli just trying to make something happen. There's a couple of strides down the ground, then pulls away from it. And by that point, she's kind of in no man's land. Back foot hovering. And from that point, she had no chance. Sophie Morris coming out at number 11 with still 9 balls left to navigate. 1 wicket left in hand. What is that? 22 runs away from making 100 for the side.
Villiers in and prodded into the offside by Morris. No run available. Lancashire 78 for 9. Chip down the ground, but still no run available.
Yeah, this has been quite incredible tonight from Durham with the ball. Obviously, that'll just be half the job. Grace Thompson's going to be called up into the circle at mid-off.
Another dot from Maddie Villiers to wrap up the over. Lancashire 78 for 9 with 1 over to go.
Yeah, great spell from Maddie Villiers there. 4 overs, 2 for 17. It's going to be Catherine Fraser. It looks like who's going to get the last over. Her first over went for just 4 runs, picked up the wicket as well of Ellie Threlkeld. Can Durham get this final wicket before the over's out? That one's looped mostly along the ground, down to a wide long on. It'll just be this one that Darcy Carter will take, which at any other point in the game would be smart against the spin, but when you need every run that you could get, got to try and run that maybe a little bit harder. Stretching there is Morris. That's good delivery from Fraser from a game management point of view. Just keep it wide enough. Now down the ground, absolutely nowhere to be found. Advanced down the track. Second stumping for Mia Rogers. It's a 4th duck of the batting innings for Lancashire as they are all out for 79. What an unbelievable performance with the ball that this has been tonight. Fraser as well is going to finish with figures of 2 for 5 off of 1.5 overs. And I mean, there's not much more else you can say, Polly. This has been absolute domination from Durham so far tonight.
I can't quite believe what I'm witnessing. It was... You see top order collapses, but you rarely see a collapse quite like this. It was kind of classic number 11 behaviour from Sophie Morris, coming down the track, trying to give it a whack. And Durham made it look so easy. They really weren't perfect either in the field, but completely dominated. And Lancashire just did not have an answer at all. Darcy Carter was kind of their only hope, finishing 32 not out from 42, but even then it didn't feel like a classic Darcy Carter performance. She really didn't look at her best, and you know what, we'll see how Durham come in and bat, but it just looks like it's going to be a complete walkover for them.
Well, we'll have to find out. We'll be back in just about 20 or so minutes time with the run chase. The number that Durham will need is 80 to take victory and bounce back after their defeat to Hampshire last week. So we'll be back here at the Banks Homes Riverside in about 20 or so minutes time. Well, welcome back to the Banks Homes Riverside for the run chase on tonight's Women's Vitality T20 Blast clash between Durham and Lancashire. And what a night it's been already. Lancashire all out for 79 after Durham winning the toss and electing to bowl. Standouts with the ball, Trudy Johnson, 3 for 7 off her 4. And then 2 wickets apiece for Katie Levick, Maddie Villiers and Catherine Fraser. And what on paper looks like should be a pretty simple run chase, but nothing seems simple so far tonight, has it, Toby?
No, cricket's not played on paper, unfortunately, for Durham. And they'll have, as you say, a very challenging chase, or what could be a very challenging chase. Obviously, we're not really sure what the pitch was doing. It seemed fairly decent, and Durham just bowled very well, and Lancashire perhaps just offered a few too many chances during their innings, which were all snaffled by the hosts here. Kate Cross will take the new ball here from the Finkel end. I think they're going to have to be very attacking in Ellie Threlkeld and Lancashire, and they will do exactly that. Just 2 fielders outside the ring in the power play. Cross comes in and full and straight and just prodded down the ground from Villiers, who opens up here with Armitage. Sweeper on the point boundary, sweeper on deep square leg as well. Everyone else inside the ring, catching extra cover, catching mid-wicket. Couple fielders behind square at third man and fine leg. Regulation cover, mid-on, mid-off as well. And again, Cross comes in with the new ball to Villiers. That one's shorter. Looks to try and carve that one into the offside, does Villiers, but just goes under the bat. We did see a couple keep maybe a fraction low. Not anything too worrying for the batters, but they perhaps just didn't get up as much maybe rather than keeping low. Perhaps the weather having a bit to say with that. Has been raining all throughout first innings. It's cleared up now. Quite a nice evening at the moment. That one again shorter and wider and just sort of clubbed into the vacant point for a single. Villiers off strike and gets the scoring underway for Durham here.
Yeah, and that'll be a key, I think, as well. For Durham, it will be very, very easy to look at that 80-run target, now 79 to win with that first single being taken, and get a little bit carried away. Think it's it's such a low target that we can really hack at it and have it done in maybe 10 overs, but we've got time to work with.
There's that solid in defence there from Armitage. Just soft hands dropped onto the ball. Happy to defend it back to Kate Cross, knowing that run rate will never be an issue in this innings. Or if it is, that'll be a complete shock.
Yeah, we've had some shocks so far tonight, especially for Lancashire perspective. 4 of their 11 going for naught.
Bit of width offered and throws her hands at it to Holly Armitage, but doesn't connect and just ends up going through to Threlkeld, who can't quite gather cleanly, and it's another dot ball, 1 from the over so far, but that won't be a worry for Durham. Lancs were 1 for 1 after the first over, wicket off the final ball. Could we see the same here from Cross, who will need to show a bit of magic today? Full and straight and flicked into the leg side. Will just be a single though. Out to the sweeper on the boundary at square leg. And they're 2 without loss after the first over here, Durham. And they will just have to play sensibly more than anything else to get to the total, you think, Ben?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, first small little differential already navigated, getting through the first over completely unscathed, which Lancashire weren't able to do. It was Meg Lanning that was trapped on the pads off the bowling of Trudy Johnson on that last ball of the first over, like you mentioned. And Eve Jones going soon after for 11.
Yeah, Tara Norris with the new ball from the other end. It'll be interesting to see how Threlkeld does use her bowlers. It was all seam in the power play for Durham and then majority spin after that.
Dab down to point. No run there.
Yeah, the first 7 overs, we saw 4 from Johnson, 3 from Graham. Then spin came in. Sophia Turner bowled a couple through the middle, as did Graham, bowled her last as well. We didn't see Thompson use at all, though. She did do quite a lot with the ball in the field, though. A couple good stops. I think she took a catch as well.
2 catches.
Yeah, 2 catches.
Stepped away there to give herself some room, and she's found the gap. Has Armitage through point. And with the rain on the outfield, it's just going to quicken it up a little bit out there. First boundary of the evening off the bat of Holly Armitage. It's just a nice piece of timing.
Yeah, just teased the 2 Lancashire fielders there, made them run all the way to the rope. I think that was Steven who tries to chase it down, couldn't quite get there before it got to the boundary.
Just watching that back as well, gave herself some considerable room. Actually ended up batting with sort of her toes on the second or third stump away from leg. Reaching this time is Armitage, trying to do a similar kind of thing there, giving herself quite a considerable amount of room.
I think it's a good plan from the captain. She's such a smart cricketer, but she's noticed that Norris will look to try and swing ball back in, but her cover outside the ring was at fine leg and deep square leg. They're just bringing up fine leg now, and I think realising Armitage is going to look to try and carve the ball through the offside. They've dropped out deep cover, and they're going to bring deep square leg, I think just behind square as well.
It's full and through the legs of the keeper. Doesn't have to just smother it there so it doesn't race away. We saw one race through behind Mia Rogers in the second over of Lancashire's batting innings. It's a neat stop there from Threlkeld. And just trying to rise up and punch through mid-off. But that's cut off well.
Yeah, lovely looking and lovely sounding shot from Armitage there, that echoing around the grounds. But couldn't find the gap, and fairly comfortable so far from the captain. Similar for Villiers, who's just stood at the other end on her bat handle. Villiers, of course, named in the Test squads fairly recently. Will start just a couple days after the World Cup final this weekend.
Or took something off of it there as a half appeal.
Possibly just bat on ground, I think.
Yeah.
Good take from Threlkeld, who similarly has been named in the Test squads. I think probably just as the backup keeper, with Amy Jones likely taking the gloves. But perhaps a little surprised that Threlkeld was named in that one. She's obviously a very accomplished keeper, but perhaps leapt over a couple names who maybe a few would have thought. Chatley's obviously been playing and captaining the England A, keeping as well, the white ball stuff. Rihanna Southby's obviously been touted for a couple years as the best glover in the country. But yeah, Threlkeld gets the nod, as is Villiers coming in, I think perhaps just to rest Dean as much as anything else in that. Cross will continue now from the Finkel end. That one's wide again, and Villiers looks to cut, but couldn't quite connect, and it just sort of dribbles out to extra cover. 6 without loss, 2.1 overs in. Cross will keep going here with the new ball. Lancashire obviously missing Grace Potts, who has been fabulous for them in both competitions so far this year. It will be Cross. That one just off the inside half of the bat and squirts out to square leg. Through for a single. Villiers on to 2. Brings Armitage back on strike.
Yeah, you mentioned, Toby, about being without Grace Potts. 11 wickets in the competition for her so far. And second to that is Venus Wirapuli and Kate Cross, both on 7, when so many of those from Wirapuli have only come in the last couple of games.
That was driven firmly down the ground. Doesn't beat the field there, though. It's a lovely stop, and could be a run out, but just bounces over the top. Tara Norris there throwing. That's a brilliant stop there from Eve Jones, who's in there at mid-off. Looked like it almost sort of rebounded into her body there, but she did well. Possibly into the face. Was she holding her cheek there? No. Seems to be okay. And yeah, good combination with Norris, who had a good shot at the stumps as Armitage tried to come through for the single. Cross continues. That was full and chipped to mid-wicket and taken. Brilliant take there. Emma Lamb in there at mid-wicket. Absolutely nailed to her. But she just sticks up her hands and snatches it. And that's the first wicket, and absolutely crucial as well. Villiers goes. It's 8 for 1 now, and could Durham let this slip perhaps? We'll have to see. They've got not too many to chase, but wickets are going to be crucial here for the visitors.
Yeah, they are indeed. What a sharp take that is as well from Emma Lamb. That has been absolutely middled to her. And as you say, she just sticks the hands out, maybe half more in sort of self-preservation than any actual thought about catching it. And it just nestles calmly into the hands. Kate Cross striking early. That brings Emily Windsor out at number 3 with at most 2 more balls left to face in this Kate Cross over.
Yeah, Lamb almost looked a bit shocked when she sort of plucked that one out of the air. Can't tell whether that was because she wasn't expecting the catch or because she wasn't expecting to take the catch. But either way, she'll be pleased with that one, as will Kate Cross, who gets her first. As you were saying earlier, her 8th within the competition. Windsor facing up to Cross. Oh, and that one almost sneaks between bat and pad there. But she does well to get bat on that, I think, or possibly not actually. Just angled in, swung in a little bit as well.
Yeah, it sounded like there might have been just a little bit of bat that she's managed to get through.
That one's full and straight again, and it beats the dive at mid-wicket. They'll come through for a single. Norris does well to get down and slide and stop the ball there. But that ends the third over. 8 for 1. Lancashire actually ahead in their innings at this stage, with 14 for 1. But that was just only after a pretty expensive second over from Heather Graham. Went for 11. They then swiftly lost a couple other wickets inside the power play and early on in their innings, and then continued to slide from there. So that will be, I think, the important part for Durham here. If they can just stay on top of the game, run rate's never going to be an issue, and just slowly chip away without losing too many wickets.
Yeah, particularly in this power play, 21 for 2 is where Lancashire were through the power play, as we are going to have a change of bowling here. Emma Lamb is going to take the ball from the Lumley end. We mentioned about how in the back end of the Lancashire batting innings that she might have a pretty sizable part to play with the ball here this evening. With the under 100 total that Lancashire set. Stepping away, and good area already. Threlkeld well and truly trying to put herself in the game. Her opposite number, Rogers, picking up 2 stumpings and a catch in the bowling innings. And Windsor with a temptation to try and use her feet. Now nothing on offer as of yet. Good scoreboard pressure from Emma Lamb so far. Frustrating Emily Windsor at the moment. Feet lashed and through. That will race away for 4. Save your legs, Emily Windsor. It was a good diving effort as well. I think that might have been mid-wicket trying to play herself into the game. But that has leapt away to the boundary.
Yeah, Meg Lanning just lurking there. I think that was. Couldn't get a hand to it. Absolutely smashed from Windsor there. As you say, good use of feet, get to the pitch and exploit the fact that there's only 2 sweepers out, both on the leg side for Lamb here.
Tries to go similar area, but more of a back foot cut attempted through the covers.
Yeah, we've seen a few of those where they've not been able to take advantage of short and wides on either team, actually. Perhaps just holding in the pitch a little bit outside off stump, or just generally Slight change in the fields. Mid-wicket just dropping into short third man. Sorry, short fine leg.
Feet again, up and over the top of the head of mid-off. Meg Lanning putting her hands to the top of her head. Second boundary to close the over for Emily Windsor. That's exactly the kind of damage that you want to be doing as Durham. 17 for 1 at the end of the fourth over.
Yeah, just seemingly been given a bit of licence, has Windsor. She's not got the best strike rate this season, just a tick under 100, but I think they've probably realised in the Durham camp that any runs, quick runs, just to get them closer to the total, just gives them so much more ease to build this chase. I think, yeah, Windsor's taking it into her own hands here to be really aggressive. Holly Armitage can perhaps just bat through and just let the other players around her try and push on the run rate a little bit more. So we're going to see a change of bowling here. Bit of slow left arm, I think that is, from Sophie Morris. Just assessing the field is Armitage. Sweeper out at deep square, just in front and deep cover. Everyone else inside the ring. Lamb in there at catch middle wicket will be lurking for another catch, perhaps. That one's short and pulled through the gap. Will be four. And again, races away down towards us here at the Finkel ends. Lovely shot. Well put away by Armitage. A bit of a loosener first up from Morris. And just pinned, bisecting those two fielders at mid-wicket and mid-on. 21 on the scoreboard now as Armitage moves into double figures.
Yeah, good shot there from Armitage. Quite compact as well on the follow-through. Let's say picking that gap through the onside.
Goes to the offside this time. Going to push for two, but I think they'll have to settle for one. That's Fee Morris out there. One of the best fielders in the game. Can't really risk anything with her.
And especially now with your run rate just a hair over 5.
That was driven again out to Morris. Well timed by Windsor. That one again, another one sounding nice off the bat. Don't remember that happening too many times in Lancashire's innings where the batters just were a bit stodgy and struggled to get going as much as anything else, which then just built more and more pressure. And in the end, just saw them collapse in a tumble at the end of the innings. That one's short and looks to try and guide that one past backward point, but can only find the fielder, can Armitage.
Yeah, absolutely. To that point you make about the inability of the Thunder batters to be able to kick on. Only 3 of them scored double digits with the bat.
That was full and driven nicely. Could race for 4. It does. That's a gorgeous shot there from Armitage. Just caresses that one through the covers. Landing in there at extra, unable to stop the ball, and it just goes out towards the dugouts down there in front of the pavilion.
Yeah, maybe a bit too much flight on that ball as well. Very, very loopy. And Armitage just extending the hands out, turns it into a full toss and just carves it through the covers and to the boundary rope.
That's where Apuli coming across into point, and they're trying to just protect the covers now. An extra fielder in there on the ring. But looks to scoop just where Apuli was. That's genius, that is, from Armitage. Not quite going to reach the boundary, actually. Bit of a damp outfield. Windsor's going to come back for a third, though. Good running from the Durham pair. And really, really smart batting from the captain. Just as I was saying, the fielder came across, opening up that gap at fine leg. And Armitage exploited that absolutely perfectly. 30 for 1. 5 overs in. One more with the power play. Well, there'll be just 2 inside the ring. We'll have a quick change of comms here alongside me. Ben's going to drop out. And Polly's going to come in. You can just see Armitage and Windsor just having a chat. Both looking very relaxed so far, as they should be. 30 for 1. That's 80 the target. So only another 50 needed. And they're absolutely cruising this so far. One more over inside the power play. Norris will bowl it. She's coming back on to the Lumley ends. going to have to try and get a wicket, try and break these partnerships and just keep plugging away. That was pretty much how Durham did it. Just kept chipping away at this Lancashire side. Norris comes in.
Armitage guides this nicely into the offside. Will be cut off by Darcy Carter. So just the single. Durham 31 for 1. 49 to win. And Durham with a big opportunity as well to boost their net run rate here. Norris into the attack, driven straight back and behind her. No run on offer.
Yeah, and possibly a bonus point win. I think if they
Yeah.
can do it inside, inside 16 overs, then they'll get an extra point for that, and that should move them up into joint second, level on points with Hampshire. And then, yeah, it's all about net run rate. They're currently about 0.6 less, so they'll need to up that a little bit.
Norris in again, prodded straight back to her.
You'd think it also a loss here for Lancashire could end what are some slim hopes of getting to finals day down at the Oval. They've just got 2 wins so far. Most recently a win in the Roses match against Yorkshire. Really impressive victory, that one. Cruising a chase, just 6 wickets in hand.
Windsor has a swing, doesn't connect how she would have wanted. Will just be a dot.
Yeah, a couple of the games earlier today as well in the Blast. We saw Yorkshire pick up what was their first win, I think, of the competition against Somerset, and Surrey beating the Blaze in what could be a pretty crucial win.
Norris in again, and that's been worked away by Windsor just for the single. Yeah, some interesting games today. I noticed Charlie Knott got a 6 for the Blaze and still ended up on the losing side.
Well, yeah, Clear Moore Pfeiffer.
Exactly. Yeah. So I don't know
Dave
how
Yoffies.
often that happens, that you take a 6 and still lose. And then, yeah, brilliant partnership, a record-breaking partnership, I understand, between Lauren Winfield-Hill and Stair Callis.
Yeah,
for
Winfield Hill
Yorkshire.
finishing just 1 shy of her ton.
Norris in once again. It's slightly paddled up and falls safely into the ground at the end of the over. Dot ball to finish, 32 for 1. So from a Lancashire perspective, a decent over in terms of restricting the run flow.
Yeah, end of the power play there, and Durham will be more than happy with how it's gone for them. Just the 1 down. Lancs 21 for 2 at the same stage. Just got bogged down the whole way through, really. They had that one sort of pretty free-flowing over, which was even a little bit lucky at times. Couple inside edges that ran away to the ropes that second over. But other than that, just struggled to just build partnerships, build consistent free-flowing runs as well. As we're seeing Urapuli come into the attack with some leg spin.
Yeah, an interesting time to bring the leg spinner on. There's kind of no good time to put one of your least experienced players on in this sort of game, but it's a great learning opportunity, and from what we've seen from Venus so far, she looks very, very exciting. Back-to-back 3-fers in this competition for Lancashire. Of course, fired up against Yorkshire. Interestingly, she goes to school and I think has grown up in Yorkshire but has opted to play a cricket in Lancashire, so a bit more added to that fixture for her personally. But we're going to see her leg spin now.
In she comes. Bit short, that one, and it's absolutely nailed, but straight to the fielder in their extra cover. Lanning just lurking, floating in the covers.
I really like her setup, how aggressively she kind of revs the ball in her hand, and actually how many steps she takes and the momentum she brings into her action.
Shorter again, and looks to cut again, and again finds Lanning. Almost identical, perhaps not quite as full as she'll be hoping so far, Urapuli, but got away with 2 dots to get into the game. And Threlkeld, yeah, as you say, turning to the youngster. Just 16 years old is Urapuli, but will look to get some wickets, break open this partnership. That one's fuller, better, and just defended by Windsor. It's a lovely ball, lovely flight on it from the leggy. Going to look to try and tempt Windsor. You'd think to try and hit down the ground, both mid-on and mid-off inside the ring. Two fielders sweeping at deep backward square leg in cow corner and a cover boundary as well. Windsor does use her feet, but doesn't connect. And can only sort of jab that one down the ground to mid-off. Having a quick word with her captain, perhaps just words of advice about the young leggy. Neither of these players will have seen anything of her before. This is the first time the two are facing each other in the competition. But they will face each other again inside 10 days. So Durham will be looking to try and get the upper hand going into the return fixture. Rapulian again, floated up, use of feet, up in the air, out towards the fielder. Kate Cross settles under it and takes it. Huge wicket there. Windsor, as we were saying, tempted into it to go down the ground. The field just changed. Cross went from mid-on out to long off. And that's a brilliant decision. Brilliant piece of bowling as well from Wirapuli. Just getting it above the eye line to tempt Windsor. And it works a treat.
Yeah, really good from Venus Wirapuli. She's bowled a really, really tight over. And that wicket is pretty significant. Lancashire just need wickets here. There's, the run rate is of no concern at all to Durham. So just kind of ripping through this batting lineup is all they can do.
Yeah, Bess Heath comes out to join Armitage. Two top scorers in this year's competition for Durham. Holly Armitage, 212 runs. Heath, 207. Striking at 142 as well. She absolutely goes ballistic when she gets going here. Does Bess Heath. Again, a slight change in field. They've gone for long on rather than long off for the keeper batter by the looks of it. All four fielders outside the ring. It's floated up and Heath just pats it back to the bowler to end what is a wicket maiden for the teenager. Brilliant way into the game to break open the partnership, and as you were saying, Polly, wickets are going to be the only thing that can keep Lancashire in this game here. That's exactly what Wirapuli's done, coming straight into the attack and striking straight away.
Yeah, brilliant from Venus Wirapuli, who's, as you say, had instant impact and just bowled such a neat over when actually Durham really could have put their foot on the gas and got this done quickly. So a really good change by the skipper, Ellie Threlkeld.
Yeah, the first two balls were a little bit loose, a bit short, a bit wide perhaps, but she gets away with it, both picking out Meg Lanning, and then she just hones in and finds that spot. As you're saying, really tidy over there on out to put pressure back on Durham. I think another change in bowling here, is that
Fee Morris.
Yeah.
Fee Morris, who will have a bowl, 2 for 28 against Warwickshire in this competition recently. An agonising loss for Lancashire there. Warwickshire just winning by 1 run. They've had a couple of games like that this season where it's just been so frustrating for them.
Yeah, one of the many spin options Threlkeld can and has turned to so far. 4 options alongside the 2 quicks. Just a bit of a false start there from Morris, sorry.
Morris. Oh, that's nicely turned away by Holly Armitage. It's going to race towards the boundary. Just got a hand to it, but touched the boundary in the end. Good work by Sophie Morris. A decent attempt, at least, but while trying to flick it back, it just rolled towards the boundary.
Yeah, she did really well at first there, but yeah, the momentum of the ball just taking it over the rope alongside her. Couldn't quite drag it back in.
Slippy outfield as well. And boundaries are just... It just makes the equation so simple for Durham here, as this will just be a single. Pushed in to the onside by Holly Armitage.
Brings up Armitage 500th run for Durham in the Blast as well over the last couple of years since Project Darwin has come into effect. She's brilliant as captain, brilliant as a batter, even as a leggy at times.
Morris in, and that's driven really well, but great stop by Meg Lanning inside the ring. Kind of pounces on top of the ball there. 37 for 2. Swing and a miss by Bess Heath.
Yeah, it's one of those that, again, doesn't quite get up from outside off. Just making it a little bit hard to get the balls away there. And jagged in a fraction as well off the pitch. We saw Villiers get a bit of purchase. Morris will do the same.
Reverse attempt by Bess Heath. There's shout, and Fee Morris has got her hands on her head. It's heading towards the boundary. Will be stopped this time by Sophie Morris.
Yeah, leg byes given. Was a long way outside. Leg stump, it looked like there on the replay. Get through for a couple leg byes. As you can see if Heath really tries to put pedal down here.
Clips it into the leg side, beats the diving fielder. They'll happily take the single. 40 for 2.
End of the 8th there. And yeah, because we saw Windsor look to be really positive and go and be quite aggressive, and that's Heath's natural game as well. So whether she might try and follow in the footsteps, or whether actually they kind of assess that they're kind of far enough ahead of the rate, and actually Windsor did exactly what was needed to really push on. Whether maybe she'll just try and settle in and ease her way through the innings alongside the captain, who has played a pretty sensible inning so far and is striking at 126, I've just seen, without even sort of realising. Just racing along.
Halfway through the run chase here at Chestler Street. Just 40 runs Durham need to win this game.
It's going to be Wirrapuli to continue. Good decision, easy decision really though, for Threlkeld. He's just directing a couple fielders. He wants the man perhaps a bit finer. In comes Wirrapuli to Heath. It's floated up and looks to try and lap that one, and it kept a bit low again, it looked like, but Heath manages to get bat on it and just dab that one round the corner for a single. Perhaps keeping a little bit low will just play on the mind of Heath, sorry. This is whether she'll want to keep playing shots like that. Leggy comes in again. And that's swept from Armitage. Just going to be one. It just bobbles out towards, I think that's Emma Lamb at Deep's backward square leg. Almost a long leg, not quite fine enough I reckon. But just floating out there in front of the Daffabet stand. Shorter and chipped up in the air. Could be taken. Is taken. That'll be disappointing there for Heath. Just short again. Looked to try and punch that one over the leg side, but in the end, just sort of towed that one up in the air. Did Heath, and straight into the hands. I think that was of Kate Cross at mid-on. Takes a simple catch above her head.
A second for Venus Wirrapuli and another catch for Kate Cross. As soon as it came off the bat, it looked like a wicket. And it was one of those that was pretty simple in the end. Kate Cross having to move a little bit, but relatively regulation.
Yeah, just seemed to sort of misjudge the length of fraction
Yeah.
Heath there. I think thinking it would get up a little bit more and looking to try and drop back and pull that one. But actually it was quite a long way outside off. Just ragged a bit off the pitch. And perhaps short enough that actually it was on its way down by the time it reached her. And she almost had to try and force that one over the leg side, which in itself sent it up in the air.
Durham 42 for 3. 38 to win as Heather Graham, Durham's overseas, comes to the crease.
And some more changes to the field. I think that's Lamb coming in now to backward point. Perhaps they've done their research and realised that Graham's particularly strong through point, or we'll see how Wirrapolly bowls here. Floated up. It's just defended onto the front foot, rocks Graham. 2 singles, a wicket and a dot so far from the over. Following on from that wicket maiden last up from Wirrapolly. Use of feet and chipped. Oh, not quite going to carry though to Lanning in there at short extra, who's ready for exactly that kind of catch. They've not settled while facing Wirrapolly, have any of the batters really. Armitage just probably looked the best, but hasn't faced too much of her either. I think it's just the sort of mystery spin, the leg spin that they can't quite wrap their head around. That one's short and looks to cut it, but straight into the hands of Lanning again, who has done as much fielding in there as, well, more fielding than catching so far, which is what she's probably primarily in there for. 42 for 3 now, 9 overs in. Almost halfway through the run chase, and Durham are quite a long way ahead of the rate, ahead of DLS as well. Not that I don't think any more rain is forecast at the moment. It's cleared up quite nicely this night up here in Chesterley Street. As the fans have come in, there's good crowds down here as well, over towards our left in front of the pavilion, the majority of them. A couple in the family stand, the LNER stand over to our right as well. You can just about see Lumley Castle peeking over the trees too.
Discussion between Ellie Threlkeld and Emma Lamb, who is going to continue with the ball.
Yeah, Threlkeld's made a lot of changes so far.
Yeah, mixing it up. Lamb went for 8 from her first over. The context of this game is, I guess you could call it expensive.
Lowest proportion, 10% of the runs.
Yeah. Lamb in, and that's swept by Armitage, beats the diving fielder Tilika Stephen. It's slowing up in the outfield, so she has a chance to redeem herself. But
no, I think that's poor.
Yeah. Kind of holds on to the ball as she slides over the boundary. It looked like one that she could just flick behind her and save it, but went for the dive and took the ball with her over the rope.
I think just misjudged the pace of it, the speed of the ball as much as anything else. As you say, just came into contact with the rope while she was still touching the ball.
Another example of Armitage starting the over with a boundary. As they'll take the misfield advantage and grab a single. So already 5 from the over. So this mirrors Fee Morris's bowling to Armitage, the boundary off the first ball in the 8th. And then the single off the second ball. That over went for 8 runs in the end as Lamb is in, and that's poked away past Meg Lanning inside the ring and will be 1. So
fired in.
Yeah, that's a strong arm into Ellie Threlkeld. 6 from the over now. 32 Durham need to win. Emma Lamb in again, and that's been parried back behind her. They'll take the 1. Just rotating the strike nicely. Brings Heather Graham back onto strike. She's scored 1 from 4 so far. Durham just shy of the team 50. Defensive from Graham, who just nudges it to the leg side for a dot. Final ball of the over. Graham coming down the track, but we'll finish with a dot. So Durham 49 for 3 after 10. Going for 7 in that over.
Yeah, I think one thing that kind of sums up this game so far, Lancashire only managed 3 boundaries in the whole of their innings. 2 in that second over that Heather Graham was bowling. Both a little bit fortuitous, one off the inside edge, the other one just a tickle down the leg side. And I think Kate Cross just lapped one, or scooped one for 4 as well. But so far, Durham have been absolutely flying on the boundary count. We've seen 5 from the captain so far, 2 from Windsor, both advancing down the ground. And I think they've just not let themselves get stuck in the same way that Lancashire did when they were out there batting. Just losing wickets and not scoring runs is obviously not the combination you really want. As I think I'm moving on now, and Ben's going to be moving in. Not quite. We'll have one more over of my dulcet tones. Wirapuli coming in again for her 3rd over. As it's just chipped. Oh, direct hit there. Lovely throw.
Crikey.
Just keeping the batters on their toes.
Yeah, one of the stumps completely uprooted.
Yeah, Kate Cross in there, just reminding everyone of her pedigree. Thoughts of a single, I think, between the pair, and they'd be more than happy that they turned it down after seeing that. Top ball first up off Wirapuli. That one's floated again, and Armitage looks to slash that one through the offside, but can't connect.
So much flight for the batters to contend with here.
It's almost just a mental game within the delivery itself, because they have so much time. Do they want to come to the pitch? Do they want to try and drop back and cut it and pull it? That one's a bit fuller, and that one is pulled into the leg side. It's just going to be 1 though. Out towards, I think that's Seren Smale out there at Cow Corner. Obviously come on as a substitute fielder for someone. I'll have to try and figure out who that might be, as Durham do bring up their 50 with that as well. 10.5 overs in, 40 minutes in. Just easing their way there so far. Short and, is that a little wrong and perhaps? Almost deceives Graham, but does well to just drag the bat down on that one.
My immediate guess is Sophie Morris. I can't see her on the pitch, and it did look like she struggled a little bit after one of these on the boundary.
Yeah. Wirapuli in again. That one's floated full. Hit up in the air. Should have enough legs. Might not quite reach the boundary. Just does in the end there, and that's 4 for Heather Graham. Lovely shot. Use of feet. Turns into a full toss. Just launches that one down the ground. Kate Cross with no chance there to get under it in the end. Timed it perfectly.
Absolutely punished. And just 26 to win now. This is looking like an all too easy equation for Durham.
Wirapuli in for her last ball. Short, and again just cut out towards extra cover. I think that's the former Aussie skipper. It is Meg Lanning in there. 54 for 3, 11 overs in now. Not far away at all are Durham, as I'll vacate and Ben will come back in to join Polly.
54 for 3, as we can hear 3 lines being belted out around the ground. And we've got a very happy Ben Fitzpatrick, because we understand Australia have equalised against Egypt. So we've got one happy Aussie in the commentary box today.
Yeah, for more than one reason at the moment, Polly. Good game of cricket going on. Durham just 20 or so runs to win. Australia 1-1 at the moment against a pretty tough Egypt side. 10 minutes left to go in normal time. And the Durham men as well, we'll have a quick check-in on them, because they're playing down in Headingley. They put 205 for 9 on the board with the bat. Yorkshire chasing it down at the moment quite handily. Need to get it into gear a little bit at the moment, though. They need 99 or 51 to take victory in Leeds. Meanwhile, back here in Chester Street, it's going to be Kate Cross. Little guidance to Lamb at backward point. It's been a pretty dominant but measured performance so far from Durham. As mentioned earlier, is the very easy temptation to see a target like 80 and think, let's really go at it. Haven't taken a great amount of risks as that one's just sort of flat batted back past the bowler. Not for the first time. Stumps rearranged out of the ground from a throw back in.
Yeah, I do understand that the stumps are often put in quite loosely here. Means you get those great cartwheeling stumps when someone's bowled. But yeah, a lot of work for the umpires to do throughout the game.
Yeah, it's always one of the greatest sights in the game of cricket, isn't it? Cartwheeling stumps, big crunching sixes as well. It's what T20's all about.
So Durham with 25 runs for victory here.
Oh, crunch. That's going to be a big chase on, and it won't be a chase at all for Seren Smale out in the deep on the offside. That was hammered off the bat from Heather Graham. And that's 4 more to the total.
As I said before, boundaries just making such a difference here and making it look so easy for Durham.
Width upish through the gap again. Won't find the rope this time. Seren Smale well and truly in the game. But good quick running from the pair will bring Graham back for 2.
Poor Lancashire have a long old trip down to Southampton, probably tomorrow, as they face Hampshire on Sunday.
Oh, that's huge. That's really nicely chipped over the top of mid-wicket. And it's another boundary in the over from Heather Graham, this time going through the leg side. And that target to win just being sliced and diced in this 12th over.
Yeah, I don't think there's any risk of Toby missing his train. This is getting wrapped up nice and quickly. 15 runs now for Durham to win.
Yeah, we're back here on Sunday as well in against the Blaze. And this time more measured and more defensive from Graham to end the over. An expensive one, 11 runs from it. It's 65 for 3.
Yeah, over an eighth of the runs scored just from that over. And yeah, that is Sophie Morris, who has come on in a bib. Just talking to the umpire. Don't know whether a message is being delivered or she's saying I can come back on the field. But she's going back off again. Seren Smale staying on as the substitute fielder.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how that pans out through the rest of the evening, if indeed we do get further into the evening. Obviously, it'll be a big blow if Lancashire are without her to potentially close out the rest of this campaign. Oof. That is absolutely crunched from Holly Armitage against Venus Wirapuli, who's bowled pretty handily. Been the pick of the Lancashire bowlers tonight so far, but that is Armitage just showcasing her intent to get the job done.
Well and truly pummeled down the ground, and once again Holly Armitage with a boundary from the first ball of the over. And she's been hitting all over the place today.
Now gives herself some room into the leg side, and it'll find the rope again. Back-to-back boundaries for Holly Armitage. The target now just single digits. It's 7 to win for Durham. And the way that Holly Armitage is batting, she wants to try and maybe get it done in this over. We mentioned about how important the boundaries have been as well, Polly. In the entirety of the Lancashire innings, guess how many boundaries were scored? As that one is heaved past through square leg.
Not many.
Yeah.
Is my answer.
It was just 3.
Wow. Just 3.
2 off the bat of Eve Jones
Yeah.
and 1 from Kate Cross. And then if you want to count the overthrows from Darcy Carter as well, then use of the feet. A little uppish there from Heather Graham.
And to think of the early boundaries that Durham found, it just completely took the game out of Lancashire's hand. They knew they needed to bowl well.
Bit slower there maybe from Venus Wirapuli. It'll be pulled away back behind square leg for a single.
Yeah, Durham with 5 boundaries in the power play just makes such a difference, and they already had the momentum from the first innings, but that just absolutely helped them on their way. 9 runs to win now. 5 even.
And make that 4 as Armitage will pull that again through a pretty similar area back behind deep square leg. That's the end of the over. That's the end of the spell from Venus Wirapuli as well. Strong spell for her. 2 for 18 off her 4 overs. It's just 4 to win for Durham.
Yeah, they are finding this simple in the end. Yes, they lost a couple of wickets, but this has been really strong from Armitage, who will be denied her half century. She's on 43 from 32. But once again, the skipper has stood up for her side. And there's a big conference between Ellie Threlkeld and Darcy Carter, who's going to be the change of bowling from the Lumley end. Who's going to come on for the first time today and try and take this game to the next over. It's quite a brutal task to be asked to come on and bowl at this stage, you know. Guess give it a crack, but yeah, less than a run needed per over.
Yeah, an enviable situation for Darcy Carter here.
Carter in, and that's worked into the leg side. That will be one of those runs, so 3 to win.
Even with the limited amount of opportunity that she's had with the ball in the competition this season, she has picked up a wicket. But she has also collectively gone for 92 runs of the 8 overs that she's bowled. Economy of 11.5.
Kate Cross coming up into the ring, and Carter's in, and that's nudged into the leg side, but no run. A dot ball. It's been a really busy month for Carter, probably quite intense. We saw some intense emotions against the West Indies and lots of highs and lows with Scotland as Carter's in again, and that's been chipped over the head of the fielder. It's racing towards the boundary. It will just about be stopped in the end, but they're going to run it anyway. Brilliant running between the wickets, and Durham are victorious. They didn't mess up this run chase. They had it secured in the bag. Brilliant boundaries, brilliant bowling in the first innings. It wasn't the complete performance. There were mistakes in the field, but they held on to catches. They took those opportunities, and it's a huge victory for Durham. Incredibly comprehensive. And in terms of finals day hopes, they couldn't have done more to boost themselves in the table as we move closer to the 17th of July.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a huge statement win that for Durham. Huge rebound as well after their defeat against Hampshire. Well, they felt like there was a possibility that they were in the game. Just a few runs left off the scorecard back last week. But making no mistake here. Set up beautifully with the ball. And then no mistakes with the bat. Sets them up for a really intriguing clash back here on Sunday morning against the Blaze. Lancashire will have to rebuild and recoup away to Hampshire on Sunday themselves. But tonight, it's all about Durham. An all-round performance on what has been and ended up a pretty lovely Friday evening for cricket. I hope that you have enjoyed us with your coverage in association with Daffa News. Myself, Emma Fitzpatrick, for Polly Starkey, for Toby, for everybody as a part of the production company as well and the production team. Thank you very much and enjoy your weekend.